Members of the family Coronaviridae are large, enveloped, single-stranded RNA viruses. They are the largest known RNA viruses. Virions are roughly spherical and are notable for the large spike glycoprotein that extends from the virus envelope. Members of the family Coronaviridae are enteric and respiratory tract pathogens. Coronaviruses are named for the solar corona-like appearance of their virions when viewed with an electron microscope. It is an important cause of the common cold, probably second only to rhinoviruses in frequency. Coronaviruses have caused significant outbreaks like the SARS-CoV-1, which emerged in 2022. The severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak originated in Guangdong, China, followed by MERS-CoV, which emerged in 2012. The Middle East respiratory syndrome outbreak was first identified in Saudi Arabia. Cases have been reported in multiple countries, with sporadic outbreaks continuing. And the most recent is COVID-19. The ongoing pandemic caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. It was first identified in Wuhan, China, in late 2019 and has since spread globally, leading to widespread illness, death, and significant societal impacts. Coronaviruses are named for the characteristic spike glycoproteins that project outward like the rays of the sun, when visualized by electron microscopy. There are only two subfamilies in Coronaviridae. These viruses that can cause illness in animals and humans. So far, 7 coronaviruses have caused illness in humans. The common human coronaviruses are the second most prevalent cause of the common cold. These viruses are common worldwide and account for around 15 to 30% of all common colds. These 4 coronaviruses typically cause mild respiratory illnesses, such as the common cold, in humans. They are 229E, NL63, OC43, and HKU1. There are currently 3 notable coronaviruses that have caused significant outbreaks like the SARS-CoV-1, which emerged in 2022. The severe acute respiratory syndrome outbreak originated in Guangdong, China, followed by MERS-CoV, which emerged in 2012. The Middle East respiratory syndrome outbreak was first identified in Saudi Arabia. Cases have been reported in multiple countries, with sporadic outbreaks continuing. And the most recent is COVID-19. The ongoing pandemic caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. It was first identified in Wuhan, China, in late 2019 and has since spread globally, leading to widespread illness, death, and significant societal impacts. Most human coronaviruses have an optimum temperature for viral growth of 33 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius, and therefore infection remains localized to the upper respiratory tract. Animal coronaviruses, including SARS-CoV and MERS-CoV, can replicate at 37 degrees Celsius and cause systemic disease. Coronaviruses cause cytolytic infections, and when inoculated into the respiratory tracts of human volunteers, they infect and disrupt the function of ciliated epithelial cells. The virus is most likely transmitted by aerosols from infected individuals. Symptoms of common human coronaviruses include runny nose, sore throat, headache, fever, cough, and general feeling of being unwell. Human coronaviruses can sometimes cause lower respiratory tract illnesses, such as pneumonia or bronchitis. This is more common in people with cardiopulmonary disease, people with weakened immune systems, infants, and older adults. It can also exacerbate pre-existing chronic pulmonary disease, such as asthma or bronchitis, and on rare occasions may cause pneumonia. In the United States, people usually get infected with common human coronaviruses in the fall and winter, but you can get infected at any time of the year. Young children are most likely to get infected, but people can have multiple infections in their lifetime. SARS-CoV and MERS-CoV are zoonosis. Outbreaks of these viral diseases have occurred when the animal reservoir has come in contact with man. SARS-CoV and MERS-CoV are cytolytic viruses that can replicate at body temperatures in epithelial cells, lymphocytes, and leukocytes. A combination of viral pathogenesis and immunopathogenesis causes significant lung, kidney, liver, and gastrointestinal tissue damage and depletion of immune cells. SARS-CoV-1. This virus causes severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS. The first cases of this disease in humans occurred in the Guangdong province of China in 2002. In total, SARS spread across 26 countries, causing an epidemic with more than 8,000 cases. Since 2004, there have been no recorded cases of SARS in humans. The symptoms of SARS include fever, tiredness, chills, muscle aches, cough, difficulty breathing, diarrhea, and in severe cases, SARS causes a lack of oxygen in the blood, leading to death in 10% of people. MERS-CoV. This coronavirus causes Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS. The first cases occurred in Saudi Arabia in 2012. Approximately 3 or 4 of every 10 people with confirmed MERS dies of the disease. A 2019 report from the World Health Organization suggests that MERS-CoV may spread through contact with animals, particularly camels. Human-to-human transmission is also possible during close contact with people who are sick. Healthcare workers, for example, may be particularly vulnerable. MERS causes fever, cough, shortness of breath. Since 2012, most cases of MERS have occurred in the Middle East. There have been 2,494 cases and 858 deaths. No vaccines or drugs can treat or prevent MERS, and health authorities continue to monitor the virus closely. SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is the virus that causes COVID-19. The first cases of COVID-19 were identified in the city of Wuhan, China, in 2019. The illness can cause mild to severe symptoms. People with underlying medical conditions and older adults are most at risk of severe COVID-19. Common symptoms include fever, cough, chills, difficulty breathing, tiredness, body aches, headaches, loss of taste or smell, sore throat, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea. Not everyone with COVID-19 develops all of these symptoms. A person may only have 1 or 2. Also, some people with the disease experience very mild symptoms, while others experience none at all. Since 2020, vaccine development has been expedited via unprecedented collaboration in the multinational pharmaceutical industry and between governments. Laboratory tests are not routinely performed to diagnose coronavirus infections other than for SARS-CoV-1, SARS-CoV-2 and MERS. RT-PCR is the method of choice for detection of the viral RNA genome in respiratory and stool samples. Managing the respiratory transmission of the common cold caused by coronaviruses may pose challenges and might be deemed unnecessary due to the typically mild nature of the infection. Controlling the spread can be achieved through the strict quarantine of infected individuals and implementing fever screening for travelers originating from regions experiencing outbreaks.